Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Carlton's World. So, I want to give y'all a little disclaimer. So, while I was recording this pod, my camera went out. However, the audio and the camera on my computer still recording. So, what you guys are going to get on the second half of this podcast, you're actually going to get video from this camera, my computer camera, versus getting the video from my camera. So please still watch all the way through. It's definitely I'm telling this story of the day that I was diagnosed with cancer, and I'm also talking about my entire 3-year journey of dealing with chemotherapy. So I really hope that you would still stay tuned despite the camera difference. I hope that you would still, if you're watching, if you're listening, you're good. But if you're watching, I hope that you will still continue on and watch the entire video despite the camera differences. Okay? So, here we go. Carlton's World.
Life is like a basketball game. Sometimes you're up, other times you're down. Opponents and adversaries coming at you left and right. However, it's not the challenges you face that define you. What defines you is how you play the game. And I play to win. Welcome to my world, Carlton's World.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Carlton's World. It's your boy, Carlton T. Clay. Thank you so much for joining me here. I definitely appreciate it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube page, youtube.com/@CarltonTClay. Or if you're on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple, or Heart Podcast, you can follow me at Carlton's World. Definitely rate me, send me a rating, and follow me. I would definitely appreciate it. So, in this episode, I'm going to be talking about something that's, today is honestly an anniversary, if you would say. If you can see, I am wearing my I Am a Survivor shirt. And if you see the ribbon, you can see what today's episode is going to be about if you're watching it on YouTube. So, 22 years ago today, I was diagnosed with leukemia. Yes, March 18th, 2002, that's when I received word, or the doctors told me that they believed that I had acute lymphoblastic leukemia. So I've never told the story all the way through as far as like what led up to all of this. And one of my childhood friends, shout out to Nick Blunt, he actually sent me a text. We was talking and he sent me a text and he said, "You know what, bro, I still don't know to this day like your full cancer journey." And so that kind of got my wheels turning. Like, all right, I can tell the story on the podcast as far as like what exactly happened, what led up to that day, and what exactly happened that day. So we're gonna walk through it. So bear with me. I'm going to try not to get emotional on this. So if I do, just bear with me on it. So yeah. So at this time, I am 16 years old. I'm a sophomore at Davidson Fine Arts School. I believe at the time I was the president of the youth ministry at Gradient Zion. And I was also doing like the newsletter. We had a newsletter, youth newsletter. So I was doing that. I was doing a lot of things. Also, we started like a step team. It was called Soldiers for Christ. And it was like basically we had the step team and a mixture with the like skits I would write. And so I just remember for the whole month of February, like not the majority of the month. I think it was the majority of the month. I just know I was sick. I had the flu, and it just wasn't going away. It was like a flu, a cold. It was just a lot of stuff going on, and it just lasted longer than what, normal. And I remember that month because it was like, of course, it's Black History Month as well. And my godmother's church, they invited us to come out to one of their events, and I think I like was just getting over it, or I was actually like I was feeling better. You know what I'm saying? So we did that performance, and then but I was still not feeling quote unquote normal. Like I was tired, like just like excessively tired. And like I said, I was doing a lot of things at church, and you know, of course I went to Davidson. So, and for people who know about Davidson Fine Arts, like you had the arts component, but you also had the actual academics component, and that, you know, the academics at Davidson was no joke. So for me, I just thought, okay, well, maybe I'm just doing a lot, and you know, and then my parents too, they just thought, well, maybe he's just doing a lot. I know my dad used to tell me, you need to sit down somewhere, you're doing too much and stuff. So we all just thought that was the reason why I was just tired. So now we're in March, and I remember specifically falling asleep in class. And I don't ever do that. Like, no, I don't fall asleep. Even if the class is boring, like I don't fall asleep. I could not keep my eyes open. Like I was falling asleep. I remember I falling asleep in geometry. I can't remember the other classes, but I was just really tired. And I was just like, why am I so tired? I just don't know what's going on. So now we're on the day of. We're here. We're March 18th. So I go to school, and I remember telling my mom, I was like, I think we scheduled. I don't know if we scheduled a doctor's appointment later that day, or if it's gonna be later that week with my pediatrician. I can't remember, but I just know I went to school, and I was like weak. Like I could barely walk. Like I was walking. Like it was like, and my friends were looking at me like something was going. Like, what's wrong with you? What's going on? And I was just like, I don't know, y'all. I said, I feel like something's wrong, but I don't know what it is. I remember telling one of my school friends, I was like, I feel like something's wrong, but I don't know. I just don't know what it is. And I ended up calling my mom. I went to the office, and I called my mom and said, Mom, you gotta come get me. I'm not feeling good. I just feel weak. And you just gotta come get me. And so she came and got me, went ahead and went to the pediatrician. And so they, you know, of course they stick you, test your blood and stuff. My blood was barely any blood coming out. Like they literally had to stick me. I don't remember how many times they stuck me, but it was no blood coming out. They like had to fight to get the blood to come out. So the pediatrician tells my mom, and of course I don't know what any of this means. Like I just want y'all to figure out what's going on. So the doctor tells my mom that my hemoglobin was at a 4, and I believe it's supposed to be a 16. I think it was 16, either 16 or 18, but it was at a 4. And so the pediatrician told my mom they're gonna go ahead and take me to the emergency room, MCG emergency room. It's called MCG back then. I know it's like AUMC or something like that now, but the children's wing of MCG. We're gonna stick with that, 'cause that's what it was called. And so it was like, we need to take him to the emergency room, because I believe that he's showing signs that he has leukemia. And when I heard that, like, I don't know, like it was just, I was sitting in, everything seemed like a blur after that moment. And I was just like, what is happening? What is going on? God, like, I was like, literally like, God, what's going on? And so we end up going to the emergency room, at MCG, and Miss Becky, she's a childhood friend. She's pretty much like a godmother to all of us, but she's specifically my sister Carmen's godmother. But I've known Miss Becky pretty much majority of my life. She used to be our youth director at GYZ, and she was working there at the time. So she met us. She met us at the emergency room area, and they put me in this room, and once again they wanted to test my blood, and it was a fight. Like they literally, I think I got I remember getting stuck a lot, like at least 10, 15 times, because again they couldn't get a vein to produce any blood to come out. Because I pretty much didn't have any. That's it was they was trying to get it out, and at this point I'm crying because I'm like, what is going on? Like, why is this happening? Like, what's happening? And so and then one of the medical people, I don't know proper terms. I don't want to insult anybody. But one of the medical, I think, assistants or whoever, doctor, I'm just gonna say doctors. One of the doctors had to do like a prostate thing with the 2 fingers, and that's never happened. So I was like, it was just a lot going on, and yeah. So pretty much they were trying to go ahead and basically confirm what they already suspected, was that I had leukemia. That's what they was trying to confirm. And I ended up going to the hospital, actually admitted me into the hospital that night. And also too, at church was having revival. It was revival week. It was actually literally the first night of revival. So my dad at the time was the lead associate minister at Greater Young Zion, and so he was at the church, and then also too, keeping in mind my siblings. I got my Kendra, Carmen, Cameron, and my baby sister Kimberly when she was living at the time. So so my aunts had to help out with getting them. It was just so much going on. And so my mom's up there with me, and she calls my dad and tells him what's going on, what's happening. And so I'm in the hospital just thinking like, what is going on? What is going to happen to me? Am I going to die? And I was just like, God, I'm just 16 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like I have so much that I want to do, so much I want to experience. And yeah, I just didn't understand what was going on. And then even to this day, it's hard to put in words exactly how I was feeling. Because even it's 22 years later, y'all, and it's like I'm still not really understanding what's going on. Even now, at 38 years old now, I'm still like not really understanding any really what's happening or what happened. That's why it's a little hard to even recount the story. Like, I remember it in pieces, but it's just like it was just so much happening, so much going on. And so I remember later that evening, I know my dad comes in, and Pastor Blunt comes in, and all these people from the church end up crowding the room, right? And so they prayed with me, and again, even though I'm in the prayer, I'm still like in my mind, like this cannot be happening. I'm still in disbelief that this is actually going on right now, that I'm actually being tested to see if I have cancer. And Um, 2 days later, I ended up having to do a bone marrow. Um, Basically a test to test your bone marrow to see to see if the cancer is in there, and it was confirmed that I did have leukemia. So, I'm trying to remember when exactly I started treatment. I don't remember when exactly I started treatment. I just know that I was scared out of my mind, because I was just like, God, please do not. I was like, God, please let me live. Please. Because I was like, man, I just have so much. I just have so much that I want to do. Yeah, I want to go to, I want to graduate from high school, and I want to graduate, and I want to go to college. It's just so much that I wanted to I want to experience, and so yeah, that time was rough. It was rough, and and even being young, I still was. I even in praying, I truly was like, all right, I had to really tap into my faith. And even though I was young and I was just a teenager, I still had faith, and I still knew the word. And then it was like, all right, it's time to really tap in, and then just really start trusting God, and really believing, that the word that said, by the stripes of Christ you were healed. And I just had to just really hold on to that. And yeah, I'm really trying not to cry. And I know people listening like, bro, let that out. But I know y'all don't want to hear sniffles and stuff all throughout this thing. But yeah, it was a lot. And my friends at school, I'm not sure exactly. I don't remember how it was announced. Clearly, I don't remember. I wasn't there. But I think somebody told me, because I had some of my friends come to the hospital to come visit me too. And what's crazy is I'm trying to entertain them, right? Like I don't, because I don't want them coming in pitying me and being sad. I'm trying to laugh and trying to, still be Carlton even through this whole ordeal, And so, yeah. So because I'm not sure exactly what happened as far as how they announced it at Davidson, as far as like me having leukemia or having cancer or whatever. So I'm not exactly sure how that went down. I'm not sure if they announced it over the intercom, or if they did it. We had a broadcast WDFA, so I'm not sure if they did it there. I mean, because I was actually a part of WDFA too as well, so I'm not sure if they did it there. I don't remember. You have to ask somebody who was at Davidson at the time, even if they remember. So and there's one story too that, and even to this day, like I'm sort of kind of embarrassed by it. It's like I remember I was eating, and these two people are my good friends to this day. Like that, they literally I call them my brother and sister, and I mean that. Like Jack and Jackie Dogan, the Dogans came by and visited me, and Rashawn Jones came and visited me too. All three of them, they came, and they came by, and I was talking, and all of a sudden I started feeling sick. And I was like, I feel like I'm about to throw up. And I was like, I do not want to throw up in front of them. I do not. And so I was trying to signal them to leave. And I wasn't trying to be rude. And I don't know if they remember this now. I hope they don't remember this. But I literally puked. And I was just like, I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed. I think at the time, too, I just started the chemotherapy, too. And it was just like, my body was just trying to adjust to everything that was being pumped inside me. Plus, I was hungry still and everything. But yeah, I think that's one of the embarrassing stories that I ever remember to this day. Oh, my hair. So I went ahead, because what I knew about cancer, right? And this may sound real ignorant, but I knew that you would lose your hair. And I didn't want to go through the process of my hair falling out. I didn't want to see that personally. I just didn't want to. I know that's the least thing you should be thinking about, but I don't know how my hair was at the time. I don't remember. I don't know if I had a fro. I used to change it. I used to have a fro, or I would have a little fat. He used to call it a fat back in the day. Anyway, I just know I went ahead and asked the barber to just cut all my hair off. Just go ahead and cut it off. Because I just didn't want to wake up and I see patches of hair like on my pillow. I didn't want to experience that. And once again, I know that's the least thing I should have been thinking about. But keep in mind, y'all, I'm 16 years old at the time dealing with this. So yeah, it was just a lot going on. It's a lot. It was so much going on. And then also even in that, and people, I know a lot of people tell this story. They recount that to me, that I had a little laptop. I had just got like a laptop. It was an older one, but I had just got one. And when I tell y'all I've been writing since forever. But even through that, I was still like writing stuff. Like I was like, because that's how I kept my mind off of what was going on. I was just like, well, let me work on this script, or let me work on this story, or let me work on this, just writing. And that helped me. That really helped me get through a lot of what I was going through as far as dealing with my cancer journey. Was writing. It was really literally like, let me get into my creativity bag and really work on this. So that's what helped me a lot. I had already wrote As the Earth Spins. So for people who don't know, As the Earth Spins is actually like my first book series that I wrote. And I already wrote it, so I had started typing it out. And I remember the person, I can't remember exactly her position. Her name was Ashley. But she basically was like not the counselor. I can't remember what her position was, but basically she made sure all the kids in the cancer wing of the children's hospital, not just the cancer wing, but just all the children, that she made sure that we all were able to still be kids. She basically made sure we still was having fun. We were still, still being able to be kids, children. And I remember telling her about the book that I was working on, and she actually took the book and she got it printed. And I don't know if I still have the copy of it to this day. I think I still do, and I gotta find it. But she actually went. I think she went to either Office Depot or so. She went somewhere and she got it printed. And I thought that was the sweetest thing. One of the sweetest things that anybody has done back then. And I just thought that was just so cool to actually see my words in print. I mean, obviously it wasn't like an actual published thing back then, but to actually see it, and for somebody to actually take the time out of their schedule to do something like that for me, I thought that was dope. I thought that was really cool, for sure. So that is pretty much the story of what happened that day. That's pretty much the story of what happened that day. It was on March 18th of 2002. That's what happened when I found out that they suspected I had leukemia, and I got the official diagnosis like 2 days later that I actually had it. But they pretty much on the 18th, it was like that. that was the day that changed my life. That's the day that changed my family's life. Yeah, it was crazy. It definitely was. I am interested in doing like a documentary series. And this ain't even nothing for me to like put out as far as trying to get it shopped anywhere. This is for me. I'm curious. I want to do a documentary series about my cancer journey. And I'm more interested in the people that were impacted by it. Like I really want to get some of my old Davidson friends. I really want to like have them sit in front of the camera, and if they can recall, I want to know how did they find out that I had cancer, and how were they feeling, especially people that I was really close to, like, because again, we're all teenagers, bro. We're all, 16, 15, 16, 17, we're all teenagers, and we're already dealing with teenage stuff. We already got teenage stuff happening in our lives, and it's like, for me, it's like, I already told you, I'm doing stuff at school, I'm doing stuff at church. I got teenage things happening, and now on top of that, I have cancer, right? So I'm dealing with all this stuff at 16 years old. Not to mention I'm the oldest out of the sibs. And then of course Kimberly, she was special needs. She had cerebral palsy. So I already knew that my parents were dealing with so much. And so as the oldest, when you're the oldest child, it's like you have to take the lead, and you really have to you have to really be there for your sibs as the oldest. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that the other siblings don't have responsibilities or they don't have cares or anything, but as the oldest, it's a different type of responsibility that your parents unknowingly put on you. You know what I'm saying? But not even just your parents, just life in general. The oldest sibling that's our culture. The oldest sibling is responsible for everybody else. That's just how it is. So dealing with all that too, and trying to figure, okay, well, what's gonna happen with them? Like, just making sure they're okay. And it was just a lot. So I said all that to say I am interested in doing like a documentary or docuseries about my cancer journey. I would love to try to reach out to my old doctors. And everybody was so amazing. Dr. Vega, Dr. Bell. And then I went to a pediatric clinic, oncology clinic, and that's where I met Miss Pam and Miss Kate. They were the nurses there. I believe they were. I think I'm saying it right, nurses. I don't want to disrespect anybody's medical titles. Miss Dana, Miss Amy Green, who I am in contact with. I do talk to Miss Amy Green. We're friends on Facebook. So if she's listening or watching, I know, like, I would love to talk to her. Like I said, Miss Dana. Who else? It was so many people that I cannot remember off the top of my head the names, but there were so many people that were a part of this journey, and I would love to sit down and talk to them. People that I went to church with, especially my friends that a lot of them I still talk to now, or I'm still in contact with at least. So I would love to sit down and talk to these people and kind of just see how they reacted and how they reacted to the news of what happened with me as far as me dealing with cancer. But here I am. I am 38 years old now, in remission. Praise Jesus. That's why I have my I Am Survivor shirt. This is actually for I did 20. If you're watching, I'm gonna turn. I'm wearing it's a 20 in the back. I don't know if y'all can see. Yeah, I know. I'm still trying to unwiden my back, unbig my back. But this is I got this done when I celebrated 20 years of being in remission, and so as of in May, it'll be 22 years. So I was diagnosed I was just saying I was diagnosed this day. On March 18th, that's when I got the news that I had leukemia. Unofficial news, but not March 18th, 22 years. 2 months later, in May, and I don't know the exact date, and I've been trying to find it. In May, I was in remission. 2 months later, I was in remission. I was a fast respondent to the chemotherapy, everything that they were doing, and I was in remission. So that's great. That's awesome. Praise the Lord on that for sure. So I was in remission. However, I still had to go through chemotherapy. So I actually went through chemotherapy for 3 years. It was a 3-year treatment plan. So even though I was in remission, they wanted to make sure I stayed in remission. So I had to go through the whole 3 years of chemotherapy. It was different chemotherapy drugs. I did radiation for a week. And I definitely want to talk about that. I did radiation for a week, and yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot. I didn't know. It was. I know I specifically want to just talk about that day specifically, but I'll just talk about the whole thing. So sophomore year. So basically, in March, I stopped going to school. I wasn't going to school. I was homeschooling. So so basically my teachers would bring my assignments to my house, and I did my schoolwork at home. So did that for the rest of my sophomore year. I was doing homeschooling. My junior year, that was rough because they was giving me the heavy chemotherapy then. Like it was heavy. Like it was a lot. Honestly, it was to the point. Now that's honestly when the point I thought I wasn't gonna make it, because to explain, when you get chemotherapy, it's killing the bad cell. I'm gonna elementary school explain it. I don't know the medical terms and everything, but basically when you get chemotherapy, they're killing the bad cells in order for the good cells to grow. So with that said, your immune system is basically shot. You basically ain't got no immune system. So if just a little cold could basically take you out of here, because your immune system is pretty much gone. It's shot. So, I had to be really careful about who I was around. I be really careful around people, and I had to be careful about what I ate. I lost a lot of weight. I was like, I think I got down to like 120 or 110 or something like that. I think that's right. I was super skinny. I remember. Just tell the story. I just remember going to church one time and somebody said, "Wow, I need to get on your workout regimen or lose weight regimen, something to that effect." Because I lost a lot of weight, and it was I need to do what you're doing or something like that. And sometimes people don't know what to say, so they just say anything that come out the top of their head. And so it was just one of those moments. Was like, why did you say that? You know what I'm saying? Like, that I'm dealing with cancer, or dealing with the after effects of cancer. I'm dealing with chemotherapy, stuff like that. So I didn't really understand why that person said that. But again, I just some people just don't know what to say, so they just say anything, Chad. I don't know. But yeah, my junior year, I was in and out of school, and it was hard. It was hard. There was one teacher in particular who gave me hell. This teacher was relentless as far as all my other teachers, they were understanding as far as what I was dealing with. Again, I am still having to do chemo. I'm weak. I'm frail. My immune system is shot, but I'm still trying to stay on top of my schoolwork and everything. But there was this one teacher, the teacher was giving me hell, basically. The teacher was always like, when are you gonna get this assignment done? When are you gonna do this assignment? When are you gonna turn it in? All this other stuff. And it's like, and again, mind you, I'm having to miss school because, again, I have no immune system basically, and I have to be careful about who I'm around. But I'm still trying to get all my schoolwork done, and I'm sick most of the time because, again, like I said, when you're dealing with the chemotherapy, like it's a whole different thing. Again, it's really hard to explain. But this teacher was definitely just not understanding at all. I don't want to say as understanding. It wasn't understanding at all as far as what I was dealing with. It was just, when you're gonna do this test, when you're gonna get this assignment done, at X, Y, and Z. It was no compassion, no grace, nothing. All this teacher cared about was the schoolwork. And it was very disheartening, to be honest with you. And honestly, it was discouraging because it was like, am I going to be able to do all of this? Not only am I having to focus on my health and staying alive, but I have this teacher who is being relentless and wanting me to get my schoolwork done. Like, all my other teachers were understanding. It was like, do it when you can. We'll get it. We'll handle it when we need to handle it. Focus on your health. But this one teacher, I don't know what the deal was with all of that. Yeah. Again, I'm frail at this point. It's like I'm literally getting through the school day. It was, and like I said, I wanted to go to school. I wanted to be around people because I was tired of just being in the house, and I just felt like I wanted to be around people. I wanted to be around my friends, and I felt like I was missing a lot. I felt like I was missing so much. I felt like life was going on without me. I don't know, man. And even then, I think I was probably dealing with depression. I mean, I don't know. I think I know I was, even though we weren't really. It's not known to. It wasn't known to really deal with that back then. But that's crazy to say back then. That's wild. But yeah, I know I was dealing with depression because I feel like life was moving on without me. I think I told somebody one time, I said, I feel like y'all have moved on without me, like I don't even exist anymore. That's how I felt. It was just like life goes on. That's like I said, is this what death feels like? Well, is this what death is like? It's like when the person leaves, like life just goes on. And essentially, honestly, it does. I mean, and then honestly, it's sad to think about. It's like when you leave, life just continues, And even then, I just felt like life is just moving on, and I feel like I was just stuck here, dealing with this, still going through, like I said, still going through the chemotherapy. Again, I'm in remission still, so that's good. However, I'm still dealing with the chemotherapy. I'm still sick all the time. I still can barely do anything. But yeah, this teacher was relentless. The teacher definitely was on my behind. Kept asking me for assignments and different things like that. And I'm just like, yo, I'm fighting for my life right now. I'm like trying to hold on to staying alive at this point. And I remember my uncle. It was one of the days I wasn't in school, and I remember my uncle. I think it was one point I was just like, I was tired. I was like, I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired. And my uncle was like, you can't give up, nephew. You cannot give up. You gotta keep going. You gotta keep going. And it was just a lot on weighing on me, dealing with the being frail and dealing with being weak all the time. And again, just feeling like I really didn't have anybody at the time. I know my family was definitely 1,000% there. Don't get it twisted, 1,000% there. But unless you have really, I don't want to sound harsh, but I want to sound harsh to the caretakers. The caretakers are very important. Unless you actually have had cancer, like literally had it, or dealing with a life-threatening disease and you having to deal with the treatments and stuff. Unless you really have it, you don't really understand what's going on inside. And even again to this day, I still don't really understand all the things that I was dealing with. It was just so much emotions. I think a lot of things I blocked out, or a lot of things, just a lot of things. And so, yeah, I was about ready to call it quits at one point because it was just a lot. It was a lot. But by the grace of God, I'm grateful I did not. I'm grateful that His strength sustained me. I'm grateful that I had my family and friends who prayed for me and continue to keep me lifted up. But like I said, teenagers are gonna be teenagers. I think like even it was one point we had the class ring ceremony, and I had missed. I think I missed like 3 months of school. Like I wasn't there for like 3 months because it was just bad, like flu or something. It was just bad bug going around. I remember this. It was horrible. So that was like, no, Carlton, you cannot go to school. Like you can't go. Like you cannot go at all. So, I wasn't in school for 3 months, three or 4 months. I was like not there. I was able to attend the ring ceremony. So I actually had a good day, and I was allowed to attend the ring ceremony. And one of my classmates, and I don't know if she was joking or what, I don't know, but she's just like, you showed up for this, so are you gonna actually be at school tomorrow? And I was like, I think I was like, and at the time, and so I'm gonna say this too, the Carlton now, totally different from the Carlton then. Carlton then, I took a lot of BS from people. I was like real, like, I just didn't like confrontation. I didn't like all of that. Like I don't really like confrontation now, but still, like I'm gonna tell you about yourself now. But then I let a lot of stuff, like I just took it. I just like people said crazy stuff. I just took it. I would just take it or whatever. So that person said that. I was like, yeah, well, I hope I'll be at school tomorrow. I mean, I hope I can make it to school tomorrow because I really wanted to be at school. I didn't want to be at home all the time. It was depressing, just being at home and you feel like life is passing you by. You know what I'm saying? So I just, yeah, I'm not upset about it now. I'm just recounting what happened. But that hit. There's another thing that happened too. I remember, so later on in my junior year, I was getting a lot better. So I was able to come to school more. And I remember we were getting ready we have this ceremony where the class, they have a thing where the junior class, all the classes basically are transferring to the next grade. So this is a big thing. And the seniors, 03, they transferred the quote unquote senior powers or whatever. Basically, the juniors were becoming the seniors. We were getting ready to become the seniors. And I remember under like a middle school, because how Davidson worked was you had like a sister class, a big brother, little sister class, brother class, whatever, how it was broken down. So the 6th graders with the 10th graders, 7th graders with the 11th graders, and 8th graders with the 12th graders. When Davidson had a 5th grade, it was 5th and 9th. But by the time I got to Davidson, the 5th, there was no longer a 5th grade class. So anyway, so I remember our younger class, somebody from the younger class, and it was like, how are you going to be a senior when you was not even here your junior year? And like I said, man, kids are gonna be like, people are gonna be people, but kids are definitely gonna be kids. And it's just be like and I didn't really know how to respond to that. I was like, I said, I don't know. I don't even remember how I responded. Like I can't remember, but it was just like, I was like, that was the rudest thing this little person said to me. And I was like, I'll be here. I'm a senior. So yeah, it was just like I said, it was a lot of things that I dealt with dealing with this whole cancer thing. So anyway, we ended up having a conference. I remember we had a conference, And all my teachers and our school counselor, the late Donna Williams, and that lady is special. That lady is special to me. I have to give her a shout out, and Miss Teresa Overstreet. They are the reason why I graduated from high school. They helped me. They really helped me, like, graduate on time. And so I'll get to that in a second. So it was Miss Williams, and the teachers. We all had a meeting, and they basically said, we think Carlton should graduate a year later. We're like, what do you? We think he should take a break from. We think we should take a break from school, and we'll have you resume, and so you can graduate in 2005. And nothing against class of 2005. I got homies in class of 2005. Nothing against them at all. But I was not having that. I was like, ain't no way. Because, you know, you had this thing. We didn't have sports at Davidson. So the thing we held on to was our class. Like, you're being a part of your class was what you held on to. We used to chant our years. I know all the schools did that. But like I said, y'all had sports. We didn't. So we had to hold on to something. And so I had been chanting 04 since I was in the 7th grade at Davidson Fine Arts. There was no way I was graduating a year later. That wasn't happening. I was like, nah. I said, I ain't feeling that. I can't see myself graduating in 2005. I am supposed to graduate in 2004. So I was like, nah, we not doing that. Nah, I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to make sure I graduate on time. And I did that. I made sure that happened. And so for people who don't know, this is 20 years later, and this is our 20th class reunion. So I can tell the story definitely for sure now. So for people who don't know, I literally was finishing up my junior year, my senior year. I was doing both. So I was doing junior year work and senior year work at the exact same time. And that's how Miss Donna Williams and Miss Teresa Overstreet played a part in helping me graduate. I would go to the guidance counselor, and after school, or sometimes during my during my lunch break, I would go to the guidance counselor and I would finish up my junior year work that I had to finish up. So I was literally doing junior year and senior year at the exact same time. The first semester of my senior year, I was doing junior work and senior work. So a lot of people don't know that. So I had a lot on my shoulders, but I was determined to graduate on time. I was determined to cross the finish line with the people I started this journey with. And still getting chemotherapy. And I wasn't getting it as much. I think my senior year I was going only once a month. I did say I was going to tell the radiation story too. I'll get into that. But yeah, I was doing that. I was doing both. So, and on top of that, my dad just started a church. So he started New Creation Christian Church. So dealing with that as well. So not only am I still getting chemotherapy, not only am I doing junior and senior year work, my dad is now a pastor. So yeah, so now we're dealing with all of that. And plus we're getting ready for, okay, Carlton's going to college. It was a question of where, because I still had another year of chemotherapy that I had to do, even though it was still once a month. There was, all right, Carlton, what are you going to do about college? And so there was like, well, you can go to Augusta State. You already be here. I wasn't trying to go to Augusta State. Nothing against Augusta State, but I wasn't trying to do that. I was trying to still go off to college. So I had applied to UGA, Morehouse, Georgia State University, Clark Atlanta, and Emory. I think those are the 5 schools I applied. And I applied to Augusta State. I just did Augusta State. You always do. Just, it was a safety net. So I did all 6. So I got into 5 of the schools. I didn't get into Emory because I skipped a question on the application. And by the time they had hit me and said, hey, you skipped a question, I already got accepted into the schools. So I was like, I ain't gonna worry about Emory. And plus, that's when I was finding out about private versus public. I was like, nah, we're not gonna do the. I think Emory's private school. You know, if I'm wrong, correct me. But I was like, nah, we're not gonna do that route either. So I got into Morehouse. I got into Georgia State. I was on reserve at first at UGA. Then I officially got in, but I had already accepted Georgia State. So I was like, I'm not going to UGA, obviously. And I got into Clark, and I got into Augusta State. I believe that's right. I think I got into Clark. I think so. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, so basically I had to. So while I was in college, my freshman year of college, I came home once a month to get my chemotherapy, and then that was my last year of getting chemotherapy. So that's basically I kind of shortened a lot of stuff, and the reason I shortened a lot of stuff because a lot of stuff I don't remember, but again, all this stuff is like bits and pieces of things I remember. That's why I want to do a documentary, because I want to kind of piece stuff together. If people still remember things, I want to kind of put things together. So I think that's why I want to do documentaries. So it's actually for me. I really would love to just hear other people's perspective on, especially my family too. Like I want to hear their perspective as far as like what they had to do, especially like even my parents. Again, my mom and my dad, my sister, our younger sister, Kimberly, I think she has cerebral palsy. And so you're dealing with your oldest child dealing with cancer, and you still have your youngest that you have to, you know, she's special needs, so she needs that special attention. But then you got Kendra, Carmen, and Cameron. You still got to deal with them too. Like they still have things that they got going on too. So it was like I want to hear from them, like how do they feel about this whole thing? You know, I want to hear everybody's perspective on it. You know, I really do. I want to touch on the radiation thing because I did radiation for a week. And I believe that was the roughest part of the whole cancer journey because I am claustrophobic, and that radiation treatment made it even worse. Like I'm severely claustrophobic now. It's to the point like I recently I was supposed to get I got my teeth done and they had to do fillings, right? I was supposed to get 3, and I only got 1 because I couldn't do the other 2 because I don't like people like even in close proximity hovering over me. I can't deal with it. Like I start freaking out. So that's why I hate MRIs. I feel like they need to do something different with the MRIs. It should be to the point where in 2024 we should not have to go into that tiny machine to go through MRIs. Y'all gotta have something else now to get what you need to get. Cause that's I just be like, forget it. I'm not getting an MRI. I'm not doing it. And my granddaddy did it one time. He was like, the story they say my granddaddy refused to get the MRI because he was severely claustrophobic. So no, anyway, I did the radiation. So what they did was they put a mask on you and they clip you down to this. You know, basically you're laying down, you're clipped down, so you cannot move. And it was only for a minute, but that minute felt like an eternity. It was just like, and what I would have to do was I would have to listen. There's a particular song on the Leah album, her last album, it's called Those Were the Days. I would listen to that on repeat before I would go get my treatment done. And so I would listen to that. And so I would have that playing in my head. That song is like 2 minutes and something seconds. So I would play the whole song in my head. So that would get me through the radiation. Now, ask me, could I do that now? The answer is no. I mean, well, let's pray. You know, we're not speaking that into existence. But I'm just saying, like, if I ever had to be in a situation to where I had to be in a closed space, I'm not doing it. Nah, that's not happening. But anyway, we're not speaking nothing into existence. I just want to put that out there. I'm just saying. Anyway, but yeah, so that was my radiation thing I had to deal with as well. So basically that is basically the story of what I dealt with as far as dealing with my cancer journey. I really am interested in doing this documentary. I think it would be very interesting to hear the perspective of other people that had to endure, alongside, what I dealt with. I think that'll be interesting to hear. So yeah, so that's it for today's pod. I want to go ahead and say, so if you're watching, you're gonna notice that I'm using a lot of the footage on the second half from my computer, because on my camera, when the battery, from one of the batteries, so on the camera, when it records, and it'll just cut off, but it won't save the footage that recorded. So if you're listening to the podcast, it's perfectly fine. It won't affect you at all. But for people watching it on YouTube, so you're gonna be basically seeing on the second half, you saw I'm on my computer. That's why I record on both. Mainly I record on both because to get the audio, but it also records the video. It also records the video. So that's why the second half you're seeing me, like, if you're watching, I'm looking straight this way, because I thought the camera was recording, but then, like I said, it stopped, and so I don't have any of the second half on that camera. I only got it on here, and I was gonna try to redo it. I was like, no, I'm not doing all that. That was first of all, that was too much authenticity, and then second of all, I can't even I wouldn't be able to tell the story the same way. It's just it'd be too much. So y'all, that's why. So forgive me for the quality difference, because a lot of times I use the computer video for transition, like when I'm transitioning, because sometimes the camera will stop and I have to press record again, and so I use that for transition. But this one, it's gonna be the second half. So yeah, so that's what that is. So if you're watching, you're like, why is he looking like that the whole time? That's what happened. But I thank y'all again for taking the time out, for listening, for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you for dealing with me getting in my feelings a little bit. I appreciate it. Yeah, I was trying not to cry. I was really trying to keep it in. But it's it's a lot. It's a lot. Like, that's why I want to do docu series, because again, I feel like there's some pieces that I'm missing, and I kind of want to fill in those pieces as far as what I don't remember or what I blocked out. So I think that'd be interesting to kind of do that for sure. But all right, that's it for Carlton's World. I gotta get ready to go. I have a long day ahead of me, but I think I really wanted to do this. It was important to do it on this day, because this is Diagnosis Day. I acknowledge this day because, again, this is the day that literally changed my life. Like, this day had a major impact on me, obviously. So yeah, 22 years ago today, this is the day that, this is the day that it happened. And also this shirt also is important because not only does it celebrate me being a survivor, I never got to ring the bell when I went into remission. I never got to ring a bell. And so on my 20th, I did like a little house party, and I actually rung the bell. I rung the bell to celebrate my 20th of being in remission. In May, I did it in May, and I rung the bell and for celebrating me being in remission for 20 years. So yeah, that's why this shirt is also very important and significant to me, because I celebrated 20 years that year of being in remission. So yeah, that's I'm saying a lot because I'm like, I need to go ahead and end this, but it's like I feel like I have more I need to say, and so that means I just need to end it. Well, thank y'all again for taking the time out to listen and watch, and until the next time, this is Carlton's World. Peace.